Joining us on the show once again today is a returning champion to our Cracked Racquets podcast, and now head coach of the National Indoor Championship winning TCU Horned Frogs. It's our friend, head coach David Roditi. Coach, congratulations on the title. Welcome back to the show. I think I know the answer to this question, but how are you doing today?
Yeah, somebody asked me today if I had come down from the clouds yet, and I told them nope. I'm still up there and enjoying every second of it. So thank you.
Yeah, no, it is my pleasure. It's not exactly the same, but the most relatable instance I have in my life, we won the club tennis national title, and I have friends who said I didn't stop smiling for 3 months. They were like, thank God you lost in the match or you'd have been unbearable. So I know the feeling, and obviously, we can just get right into it after, 4, 5, 6 semifinals at the national level in your career, and you've won conference championships. You've gotten so close to capturing an elusive national championship. Your guys have done it now. What does that mean to you? What does that mean to your program, particularly as someone obviously who played for TCU?
Yeah, it means a lot. It means a lot for those reasons. We felt we've had so many good teams and so many great players, as you know, with the Cameron Norris and David Pates of the world, Sandon Stoley won the U.S. Open. So many, the list goes on and on and on. But it's so hard to win it. Not only do you need a good team, but you need luck, you need timing, you need guys to come through. You can have a guy have a bad day, but you can't have 2 guys have a bad day or 3 guys have a bad day. So there's so much to it, and that it means so much. So I'm just grateful and thankful. And there's so many teams, so many coaches that could stand here. I think this year is sort of up for grabs. Any kind of national championship, you run that tournament again, you'll probably have a different winner. So I'm very aware of that, and therefore very grateful and very thankful that our guys were willing to suffer through that tournament and get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. It felt like the first time in years you had a healthy group going into national indoors or going into an NCAA tournament. And I did you feel the same way at all?
I mean, it's just healthy. It's such a loose word, and,
Sure.
and it depends on in the moment. And we still have some guys that you didn't see that much of in singles that are still a little bit hurt. So we were, I would say, and I think I speak for just about every program, especially with COVID, that we were healthy enough to be able to put 4 points up on the board. Are we 100%? No. Did we play our best at every position at all times? No. So it's great. There's still room for growth, and I'd be shocked if there's not a coach out there that would feel exactly the same. And it's February, and there's a lot to go. So
yeah. No, and I want to explore that a bit later, but looking at your team over the past 4 days, or those 4 days of the national indoors, one of the things that stood out to me, and I think it's a growing trend in college tennis, is the energy you have to play with to win one of these matches. They're marathons, but they're also mini sprints within the marathon, the doubles point being one of them. And, in particular, obviously you guys dropped the doubles point the first match against Virginia. You win the next 3. But in that championship final, you guys played with a poise. And, Tennessee's a team that likes to be loud. They like to be energetic. And obviously you got to see them early in the season as well. And yet it felt like in that Tennessee match, in all of your matches, your team played at your pace from an energy level. I don't know if that makes sense as a question, but I'm curious if that's something you guys focused on, maintaining that poise, because it felt like you maintained the focus through the marathon perhaps better than anyone else throughout the weekend.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I mean, we know those programs that are notorious or famous for being super loud. I feel like we played 3 or 4 of them back to back. They all are. Especially Tennessee, we lost to them at home earlier in the year, and they are very loud. Even at our own facility, I felt like they were louder than our home, than all of our fans. There's nothing like winning a doubles point and winning or getting first sets to lower that and to quiet them down. and also maybe the face masks, right, for the non-playing players. I think that was my job. Make sure those guys kept their face mask on the crowd. Yeah, sorry, Chris, that was me. But anyways, so that was, yes, winning the doubles point makes a huge difference with that, and it's 1 point closer to 4. At the same time, my message to the guys and Devin's message and Derek was, look, we're going to be who we are. And even within our team, some guys are louder than others. And I said, we're not going to make this a shouting contest. If you feel like screaming, scream. And if you don't. I mean, just be energetic. Mm-hmm. Let the racket do the work. Let the racket do the talking. We know what we can do on the court as tennis players. You know this team. We just lost to them barely. We were up a set 4-0 in the deciding match, or 4-2, 40 love in another match. Either one of those would have given us the victory. So we know what you can do. Be yourself and just fight like a dog. So that was the message.
Absolutely. And I want to ask you about all of your guys. I'm going to save those questions for the long-form conversation of this, which all of our listeners can find on the Cracked Interviews podcast feed. I apologize. Now at this point, we have teases, Coach. That's how far we've come. You've been with us since the early days. Now we get to tease towards the big interview. But, looking at your team, you talk about the opportunity to get better. Well, Sander Jong, the landlord, number 3 singles. He loses first day to Van der Schulenberg. No disrespect to Sander. That was just a great match from Jeffrey. He gets, he and Louis bageled on the first day in doubles as well. Sander and Louis win the rest of their matches, right, from there in. And you look at Famba, who doesn't lose on the weekend, 2-0-2 overall at the number 1 spot. Fernley, same deal, loses to Trotter, but that was it. Was so excellent. And, all the way up and down the lineup, odds, even side, didn't matter. You talk about the growth available. What does this result do for their confidence? How do you grow after a result like this? Yeah,
I mean, so what does this title do to their it's more to their confidence, and they know that, okay, one, for someone like Aguilar, hey, you can lose 4 matches in a row and your team still win. That's a huge confidence builder for Charlie, who's been in college for 4 years. Or for Fomba, you didn't win. You only won 1 singles match. You didn't lose, but your team's got you. And we have freshmen that are willing to go through the pains of competition and be able to put wins out there, with a guy like Pedro Vives, who's from Spain, playing indoors and goes 3-1 for the weekend. So I think that's what it helps. It lets everybody know on this team that it's not just you, it's everybody. It's all 8 players contributing, whether it's in singles or doubles. So that's a great sort of peace of mind and a confidence builder for them. And also that you're together with a team that can get to a final and actually win it, which it's hard to. We have a guy like Cameron Norrie, who it took him six finals to win an ATP title. I lost in 5 doubles finals, never won one. So that's why when I had the microphone, I'm never giving this speech before, so not like Chris Woodruff. So I mean, that's great for them to know. And then the growth, I mean, we can still play so much better. We had matches that we were completely out, like you mentioned, that doubles, and we had opportunities to break earlier in the doubles and we didn't. We could have won sooner against Texas, and they made a run on us. Number 3 doubles, I feel like those guys are such great doubles players, and they've had success, so much success earlier, but they lost the last 3 matches. I mean, we got to get better there. We got to get healthier. We got to get Thomas Jirosek in there. We got to get Tim Rule playing singles. We got to a guy like Louis Max that can still, he's just a freshman. He's barely 18 years old. He just turned 18. So there's a lot of growth to go here from February to May, which I see it as a plus, not as a negative, that there is growth.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. And again, I want to ask you about all of those players. 2 more for you here for our opening segment. You look at the rankings. You guys were number 5 coming in behind Florida, a team you had beaten early in the season. You look at the rankings now. You just beat Tennessee in the National Indoor Championship. You're still at number 2. that adds some fuel to the fire, right? I know I'm poking the bear here, but come on, you noticed.
Yeah, I mean, ranking systems they're never perfect. And to be perfectly fair with Tennessee, they say, well, we beat you at TCU. So, and they get rewarded for that. I think that's probably the difference maker, is that they beat us on the road. They get a bonus of 10%. I think other than for our program to be able to say that we're number one at any point, it would mean a lot just for the fun of it, to be able to say that. There was a year when we had Nori and Rybakov and Alistair Gray and Nunez and Lopez, and we're just loaded. Trevor Johnson, Reese Stolder, absolutely loaded. We beat A&M. They were top 5 or 6. We were number 2, and we beat A&M. That would have put us at number 1, but our match finished on a Monday at 6 o'clock instead of 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would have been number 1 in the nation for that week. And then the next weekend, Wake Forest and Virginia played each other, and they were 1-3. So they were going to get a big win either way. So we missed it there. I'm a math guy. I like to play with numbers. Mm-hmm. I like to see what happens after this week. When you do it again, I have a feeling, the Horned Frogs might be at number 1. So it's fun. I was a little bit, it's no secret, I was a little bit surprised that when you have 12 coaches voting, and in Florida it's at number 4 and we're at number 5, and we had direct win over them, and we had a very good schedule and very good record going into that indoor. But I was explaining how that worked, and I don't know, I think there's some things we can do better as a voting system, but it's, it doesn't matter. I don't think anybody really cares right now. Our guys and us and our whole Frog Nation is loving and enjoying the hell out of this title, regardless of what the ranking is this week on the ITA rankings.
That's what I like to hear. And with that in mind, my last question for you, you capture that national title. Alistair Gray wins a title this past weekend. Cam Norrie wins a title this past weekend as well. You have earned the right to do some celebrating as a coach. How does Coach Roditi celebrate title number 1?
Wow, the good old way. For me, it was so fun. I teased with Reese Stolder. He's playing challengers out there in Rybakov, and I said, look, all we needed was a challenger level win, and we would have had all covered. So to me, the best part was seeing the biggest smile on our guys, on our current guys on the team for that whole day, that night. We had dinner, and you would have thought, I have a 5-year-old, I have a 7-year-old, and if you told me they were 5 or 7, I would have believed you. It was awesome. I absolutely loved it. That was the best part. And then the response from all the, not just co-workers, other coaches at other universities, the amount of text and love and support from our Frog Nation, from administrators, from all the other sports at TCU, it's awesome. It's so heartwarming and so humbling, and it makes it so special to see that all these people, what it means to everybody that's been at TCU.
Yeah, no, it's amazing to hear, and obviously getting to watch it all up close. I'm not saying this is going to definitely be the case come May, but I think the best team won this weekend. There was no doubt about it. There was just a poise you guys played with, and energy, and again, you can see the talent everywhere. And so congratulations, Coach. It was a pleasure to get to watch, and obviously
Alex.
Wishing you health and success this season.
Well, thank you, and as always, I love what you guys do. I love what you do. You're out there all the time. I saw the hours you put in all week, crazy. I was I felt so guilty that you basically worked 20 hours a day and you were still at the gym working out. And, I worked 4 hours a day and still didn't find a second to get in there. So I admire that. And I'm sure you get this from all the coaches. We love what you do and what you do for college tennis. So thank you.
I appreciate it. You got to see me without a hat. I'm devastated. I'm like, it's over. Now you know.
I know. No, and you found one of our guys' wallets lost, and you returned it. I thought, wow, there's a change. I don't think Adam Steinberg would have returned that wallet, you know?
Well, I'll tell you this. I only took the 150 pounds I saw. That's it. That's all I took from it. I promise.
Yeah,
but
well, we joke with Jake, if his head wasn't attached to his body, he would forget that too. So
exactly. No.
Yeah, we play your alma mater next match. That's going to be rough.
No, you don't have to tell me. I mean, it's going to be great for us. It's always fun to beat the national indoor champs. So, that's a good feeling.
Yeah, I know. We can't even practice outside. It's sleeting right now. So.
Yeah, well, imagine what it's like in Ann Arbor. And we're back with TCU men's tennis head coach David Roditi, and you're going to get me in trouble. I'm going to talk smack on behalf of my Wolverines, and then they're going to have to face the Horned Frog's wrath. So I'm not going to do it. You almost got me. I'm not going to do it, though.
I'm telling you, everybody was celebrating. I was celebrating too, but trust me, I've not stopped thinking about that match we have on Wednesday, outdoors for the first time forever. I know it's for them too, but we're supposed to have an advantage. We don't. It's going to be just the same for us, having to adjust to the outdoors.
And I am curious for your team, because obviously it's very rarely that you play 4 days consecutively. What does the recovery period look like for your guys this week? Obviously, I know you want to shift outdoors, but do you give them a couple days off?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm a big believer in being rested and physically able than you are to be, in a way prepared.
Sure.
Tennis wise, we played a lot of tennis. We do want to get outdoors. We do want to hit a bunch. They also not just, what happens when, as you might know from your club championship, I don't know if you played 4 days in a row, but you might know that when you go through a tournament and you're in that mode, your body doesn't hurt as much because you're literally, it knows that there is no time to let go, and you stay on an adrenaline high, and so does your body. But the moment that tournament is finished, your mind and your body knows it's over. You let go, and that's when you feel it all. So yeah, absolutely, our guys are feeling it. There was a lot of tension, a lot of highs and lows, a lot of emotion, a lot of tennis for some of them. Very quick, fast reaction. So yeah, we're absolutely feeling it, but it's first class problems, right? It's a good problem to have when you win a tournament like this. You are going to be hurting.
I woke up at 3 p.m. on Tuesday. It was the best. I felt it all rush back, and I think I took a nap that day afterwards as well. I was like, I still think I got 2 more hours in me. I grew an inch. That was cool. But no, yeah. But in particular, you talk about that recovery period. I want to talk about the freshmen, and let's start with Pedro Vives, who was top 600 ATP coming into college tennis. So clearly he had some success, but you look for him, on day 3, and he goes 3-1 for the tournament. But on day 3, JJ Tracy cleaned his clock for whatever it's worth, took care of business. And if you watched that match, it just felt like Pedro didn't have much left in the tank. For him to come back that next day and be down a set against an Angel Diaz who was just in form, no question about it, throughout the course of the weekend. What'd you learn about him this weekend? Well, what did his performance? What did that tell you about the young freshman?
Yeah, no, I mean, I would love for you to ask him that question, but there is no doubt that he can play. He can play on indoors, outdoors, grass, clay, whatever you pick it. He can play tennis, and for him to be able to do that, to go through exactly what you just said, and come back and have the belief that he can actually get through that and win it. It was remarkable, and I think it's great for him to know that. It's great for his teammates to know that, and not just that he won. It's the way he won. I wasn't there, but I kept hearing from different players and coaches that the last 2 games he played were just top level, high level tennis. So that's a huge confidence building. My message to him is, when we get the links from University of Washington, from the play site links, please watch those last 2 games, because that's what you can do under so much pressure. As far as JJ Tracy, I think JJ Tracy should be, as you mentioned, a clock cleaner as a for a profession. I mean, he's been doing that to everybody, and that's probably what Pedro said. I said, I just got my clock cleaned, but JJ's been doing that to everybody. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't be shocked if JJ Tracy moves up in that lineup anytime soon.
Yeah, he might be playing one. Who knows? Like, seriously, he was that good all weekend long. I think he dropped like 8 games.
He's playing very good tennis. Yeah. Very good tennis.
And so, again, for Pedro, obviously, the confidence you get from that we already talked about. For him to clinch, and you're right, the tennis he played, he's clearly at the level. And so for him to put it all together. On the flip side, you look for Louis Maxted, who 2-0-1 on the weekend, and for what it's worth, served for that match against Conor Gannon in the final. 2-part question for you here, and part one will be the fun one. Does it help you in those moments to be on the other side of the court, other side of the building, and be like, that's Devin and Derek's problem. I'm staying far away from that, and obviously so much credit to them for their coaching performance this weekend. But does that help you? Are you like, I want no part of that right now?
Well, I mean, yeah, there are times where you do definitely feel that way. It's great to have 2 great coaches and 100% trust. As you can see, you saw Derek Siddiqui being on the final court with Sander John, with everything on the line against Ohio State. And Devin and I couldn't be further and chatting as we were having a coffee almost, and let Derek handle it. Full trust in Devin. But it is hard to be on the other side. Yeah. Because it's hard not to look at the scoreboard. I'm sure people that know me, I get distracted easily. Fumba gets distracted easily. And my job was like, you and I, Fumba, let's go. And I just kept telling Fumba, you have 2 freshmen over there. It's going to be you. Let's go. And he did a great job. I felt like if we hadn't been able to win either one of those matches, Fumba was about to break twice, possibly go up 4-0, and you never know. But on paper with that serve, the 2-break lead would have been a nice lead. Now he was up a break against Walton the last time he played him here at TCU and was not able to close it out. So it's both. It's nerve-wracking, it's helpless, and at the same time you're like, well, it's not me, so I'll just kind of wait and hear it. I'll tell you what the funny part when you play in a facility like that is that you start, because the scoreboard is always a couple seconds delayed from what happens, so you start trying to differentiate what a Tennessee cheer sounds like versus a TCU cheer and on what court. And I love it when Aguilar does something really well. He has a very distinct celebration. I'm like, okay, good. That was Charlie. But Louis is a little more quiet. Yeah. Pedro is playing another Latin guy, so the vamos didn't really mean much. It's incredible, like all the little clues, because you don't want to wait 5 seconds to see the scoreboard to see who won that deuce point or who got it back to deuce or whatever. It was killing me. I had back pains just out of nowhere, just from the stress. But why not? That's why we do what we do. It's fun, and we're very lucky to be able to even feel that, win or lose.
Yeah, no, I mean, the most distinguishable yell in the building is Mitsui for Tennessee. When it's a Mitsui roar. You're like, all right, that was something good happened for Tennessee on 5. Like, that was, and thankfully, I suppose in that final, Jake played so well we didn't hear too much of it.
I mean, I'm thankful to hear. Japanese was my minor in college, so
okay.
I didn't hear much of it, and that was beautiful. I thought that was a critical match and a critical point for TCU, just like the doubles, to be able to beat Matsui. I felt like he's a player that they count on, and that was my message to Jake. We talk about cutting the snake's head, and I felt that. Tennessee has a few heads. Monday is a tough 2, but I felt that was the snake's head, is to be able to take that point from Matsui. And Jake, he did it all weekend. Even the match he lost, he was this close to turning it around. He's playing very good tennis.
Yeah, no, and in the Virginia match in particular, for him to just get on and off the court as quickly as he did against Getz, and there were they took doubles in 3 first sets, and yet you guys were the one with the straight set victories, and that's a credit to Jake, who, again, with Luke, I thought, well, let's talk about Jake for a second, because it is very forehand centric, right? If you watch him play, you know what he's trying to get into, and yet this weekend, even against Trotter, that first set, he had his chances, right, in the breaker, and you just felt like he takes that, he probably wins that second set. And most outstanding player of the tournament is Siem Waldeep when he's down a set in 5-something, because that's when the comeback really starts for him. But, for Jake throughout the weekend, I just thought he asserted himself so well. And obviously, he's, a third-year sophomore, I want to say, here this season. Have you seen a jump from him? Is that something you've noticed as well?
We've always we think very highly of Jake.
Yeah.
We think he's been hurt. He's had some injuries ever since he got here. I mean, he won a futures in singles.
Yeah. When
he first got here, so he beat Rinky in a futures. So he can play, and he just hasn't been healthy enough. And I feel that time and maturity and COVID has given him a time to grow into his belief, into his game, and he's playing with a little chip on his shoulder. That's why I call him Arthur during the matches. I don't know if you that's from the Arthur Shelby.
Yeah, that's good.
With a little meanness in him, but that's who he's been, and for him to beat Getz the way he beat him back to back, because he had just done that to Getz the week before. It's hard to do it against such a good player as Getz. And with Trotter, I think he lost 6 out of 7 deuce games. Out of the 7 deuce games, he lost all 6. He only won 1 deuce game. Otherwise, I felt like he was right there, and Trotter played a very good match. And Trotter had break points down. Otherwise, it would have been 5-5. And credit to Trotter, he got out of that court. But if that match goes into a tiebreak or a third set, I would have loved to see Jake play. So we're very proud of him. He can still do things better. There's still room. We're not shocked in any way. We're just very happy for him. Yeah. He's worked so hard just to be able to be healthy, to compete and play.
Mm-hmm. No, that was the big one. Him being healthy again, it does feel like you get to see all the weapons finally on display and how he can assert himself. And again, we talked about the freshman, but for Sander to have the day one he had and respond the way he did, I know you call him the landlord for a reason, but that just felt like an upperclassman stepping up in the moment.
Absolutely. And if there is a quality about Sander that we love, is his resilience. It doesn't matter what he's going through. It doesn't matter how he got broken. It doesn't matter if he's down a set. He just keeps on going. And you can hardly tell anything from him. He does such a good job of staying calm and poised. You can feel the intensity that he's obviously very competitive, but he does such a good job of keeping his poise. Plus, the indoor tournament, it's always been his tournament. I remember freshman year, he went in there sort of struggling. He came out with 3 or 4 singles wins, never lost. Second year, same thing. His record indoors, I don't know on top of my head, but I bet it is, 11-5 or something like that at this tournament. So he loves it. He works. He's super professional. Any success he has, he deserves, because he works at it.
Yeah, no, again, I'm always pro Alexander, as you can imagine, and he's repping our name well. I can't disagree with his performance out there. You talk about continuing to have ability to improve. And you look at Luke Famba, who, I remember Chicago indoors, right, was playing number 5 singles back in 2019, and now you see him at the number 1 spot where he'll hit this on-the-run forehand or backhand down the line, and you're just like, well, that wasn't there 4 years ago. And yet it still feels like there's more to tap into. It does feel like, though, he's finally starting where the physicality and the shot-making ability are starting to match up. And, again, you look for him on the weekend, wasn't often finishing his point, but whether it was, again, that first set he took against Micah Braswell at Texas to just kind of put the foot on the throat for you guys in that first hour of singles, or, again, him fighting against Iñaki Montes after playing him, or, you guys played him 5 days earlier, all that he was able to do against Walton as well to take that first set. Talk to me about the growth. I was literally you and him out there all weekend long.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time. He laughs because whenever I'm coaching against him in practice, he knows that I know what he's thinking. I mean, it's a joke. So I've spent a lot of time, and he laughs. He's got a great smile.
Yeah.
Famba's, he's interesting, and I can see why it's difficult for opponents to figure him out, because I'm not sure I figured him out completely, even though I've spent so much time. He's got such a big serve, but then his personality he's resilient, and he competes, and he almost, good and bad, has the mentality sometimes of someone my size. Instead of being 6'5", he's 5'6", and sometimes I want to show him a mirror and go, look, you're this big, let's play like it. And that was, to me, there were signs and moments in that match, in those matches this whole weekend, and I felt from the first day to the last day, he was imposing his game a lot more, and be able to free it up and win some points on his own from the ground, be able to hit those down the line shots like you mentioned, coming forward, putting pressure, and being more physical than he may have been 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, again, it's clear the growth he's in his game, and you feel good about him, especially if he's going to serve that way indoors. He didn't lose on the weekend, which sometimes is just as valuable as putting a win up on the board. I want to talk about the newcomers broadly, and I know we talked about Pedro and Louis already, but you add in Charlie, or Juan Carlos Aguilar, and Tim Rule. They just seem to have fit in right away. And, sometimes when you work in new players, it's not that seamless. Why has it been that seamless this year?
You're right. You don't know. You don't know. And what opposite personalities, right? Charlie and Tim. You have your Latin emotional guy with your stone-faced German. And I think they all knew each other from the juniors. Mm-hmm. We played A&M every single year that Charlie was at A&M. We played against Arizona State every single year, sometimes 3 times in 1 year, in one season. So we knew each other really well, and that meant a lot. That meant a lot to me as a coach and in our program, that when you compete, and it was always battles against Arizona State, always battles against A&M, that they would want to come and join our program. I thought I was really pleased to see that, because the competition brings out the best and the worst in everybody. Mm-hmm. So for them to want to join us meant a lot. And they've done such a good job of gelling and getting along with the guys. We have 4 new guys, 4 returning players. We lost our captain in Alistair Gray. We lost Juan Martin, who was like a captain, very strong personality in the team. And then 2 guys that were with us forever, with Max Kurzman and Lalo Roldan. There was no doubt on paper we had 8 very good players. And I wouldn't know who would be the top 6 on a given day. But credit to them, credit to Driven for Life, which is a program that we have worked in the past that helps with personality differences. Devin and I have complete opposite personalities in some ways, even though we're just like the same in so many others. Derek, and it so far it's working out. I mean, we have 8 players and we have 4 captains. So I bet you've never seen that before. So, but that's the reason, is that we're not just one guy. We're everybody together.
Mm-hmm. No, I'd love to hear that. When you look at some of the decisions you made throughout the weekend, Jirasek at 6 is the only change you made at 6 in that Texas match. Why?
Louis had a very physical match the day before. Mm-hmm. He was feeling it in his legs. And, Louis is very quiet, but as all Englishmen, he's very funny in his own way. And he let me know 2 days later, like, my legs were fine, coach. You didn't have to take me out. I said, well, you were saying that your legs were heavy. So that was one of the reasons. The other one is that we believe 100% in Tomas as well. He's been with us all the way. He's played a lot of tough matches. His game style is very different than Louis. So that could have been part of the reason as well. That sort of the matchups we were expecting. We Cleve Harper, if we could steal him, we'd steal him. Love his game, his energy. So there was a little bit of that. And also, when you're in that 4-day tournament, you never know what, somebody could get hurt. And we didn't want Tomas to all of a sudden we need him for the finals, and he hasn't had any play at all either. So there was just a lot of that going on. And if anything, it gave Louis an opportunity to watch from behind. And then he comes back the next day and wins a critical point against Cash from Ohio State. You have a freshman. Is Cash a fifth-year senior?
Yeah, or fourth, I think.
Oh, fourth year. I mean, that was huge. And I bet if you talk to Ty Tucker, I bet that one stung a little because Cash wins a lot, and he was up, I think,
5-4, love 40. Yeah. Had a forehand on top of it.
Yeah, and I think Louis had lost 14 points in a row at that point because Louis was up 4-2, 40-15 or something like that. I told Louis, nobody wins 15 points in a row from you, buddy. Nobody. So that was big. So maybe that helped. And, decisions are tough. You do what you can with what you have, and you talk amongst the coaches. Devin's sort of an ex-professional poker player, so it's awesome to hear his train of thought. And this time it seemed to help. We didn't, Tommy did a great job at 6, and then Louis came back strong the next 2 days.
Yeah, no, again, it was extraordinarily impressive. All right, I crowdsourced some questions from TCU Nation who wanted to hear from you and had some thoughts. Obviously, this one comes from your hat on Twitter, not Coach Roditi account. I'm sure you're vaguely familiar with. And I thought this was a great question, so I had to steal it. He says, Coach, when you're arguing with the refs, and he puts arguing in quotation marks, what's the most common complaint you have, and do you ever win the argument? That's just a great question, and I can blame him on it instead of saying it was my question.
So I'm all about, if you have a rule, then enforce it.
Sure.
Because to me, any game, I love board games. I love playing any kind of cards, tennis. And to me, it's all about, here are the rules. Now win within these rules. That's the competition to me. It's not how I can get around the rules, how I can bend them. It's how can I play within the rules? And we have a couple of rules that we don't enforce very well. One is taunting.
Sure.
And I think we should just take it out. Just get rid of it. That's not the one I complain about. The one I complain about the most is foot faulting. I think it should be the easiest call to make. It drives me crazy when the referees say, well, he's just barely nudging it. Is it a foot fault or not? Because if a ball barely nudges the line, it's in. So if a foot is touching any part of the line, tell him to back up. Just tell him to back up. I know that's a personal pet peeve of mine. I can't help it. I hate it when somebody foot faults and it's not called. That's my number one complaint. And it doesn't get called very often. If anything, we got called for fault way more than anybody. And you'll never hear me complain about a foot fault. Because, if you're touching the line, you're breaking the rules. Don't touch the line. It seems very simple and logical to me. But I was 5'6", so I am 5'6".
Sure.
Playing tennis, you better be aware of what's happening, and the yin and the yang. What part of what makes me a good coach or a good competitor is that I think of everything, and what part of what makes me a bad coach and a lesser coach is that I notice everything. And if Prada is out on the crowd cheering without his mask, and the rule says that he should have a mask on, I notice it, and I'm going to say something because the rule says you got to have a mask on. I'm sorry. You know, Tim Rule and Thomas Jurasek have a mask on. Put your mask on. Whatever. It's maybe it's, you know, nitpicking, but whatever. I just,
No.
I think the rules are there for a reason, and you follow them or change the rules. That was the whole thing about the Roditi rule with the crowd. I got so tired of it. It was so vague. I was like, just let the crowd do whatever they want to do, and then that way you're not breaking the rules. Just let it be. So.
No, fair. I would also point out you made a point in your speech after the match to say, hey, you only get noticed when you do something incorrect, but we are immensely grateful for the line judges. So I don't want that to be clouded as well, because I appreciated you saying that, as you were 100% right about that. But yes, I would also agree with everything you just said there. Like, if we're going to have a rule, let's enforce the rule. Again, some fun ones for you here. But I don't know. Here's a good one. Do you think this squad will be even better outdoor? And then he says, or does the Famba big serve give an edge to indoor? That was a specific one. That's from, let's see, I'm not even going to name it, but that's from another Frog fan.
I mean, obviously, it's when you have a serve like that, it's, you can look at it two different ways. It's like an Isner. You know, Isner wins a lot of points with the serve on play as well. So it'll probably be tougher outdoors. I would say indoors, the biggest advantage for someone like Foma is that the conditions for him to be accurate it's easier indoors.
Sure.
There's no wind, there's no sun, all that stuff. That's what helps. It's not so much the speed of the court. So yes, at the same time, you know, I feel like Charlie Aguilar is going to be just as good or better outdoors. I feel like Sander Jones game, Fernley, Jirosek, Tim Rule, all of a sudden it's, you know, we're outdoors. And Louis and Pedro Vives, I mean, he grew up on clay. I'm sure he's pretty good outdoors. So are we going to be better? You know, one thing is, are you going to be better? I believe more in how you compete than how you play. And if we compete the way we competed these last 4 days, it doesn't really matter how you play, it's how you compete. So that's what we're going to focus on. I do believe we have 8 very capable players, and we'll see. It's hard to know what's going to happen between end of February and end of May.
Did you see the same depth we've been speculating about here at Cracked Racquets? It does feel like, yes, again, I thought you guys were the best team this weekend. I think I could make a case for 8 of the 16 or 10 of the 16 teams there this weekend to be the best come May.
100%. That's what makes it exciting. And our team knows that. We know that. We are enjoying every bit of it on this national title. At the same time, we know that tomorrow when we play, or in 5 days, we play Michigan, who wasn't even at the tournament. They could easily beat us on coming Wednesday. So I love that. I love that we know that. I love that for college tennis. It's going to be a very exciting season for everybody to watch, and hopefully we can continue to improve, like all these teams are going to continue to improve, and that we're battling for a title in May.
I love it. Well, 2 more silly ones for you, and then I'll let you go. This is one of my new questions I'm adding to the repertoire, and it's a little tougher to ask you because the obvious answer is Cam Norrie, because he's, you know, made the year-end finals, and obviously it's top 15, top 10 in the world. But who is the most ridiculous player in retrospect that you sent a recruiting email to? For instance, if I search the email database, am I going to see, Dear Carlos Alcaraz, hi, this is David Roditi. I think TCU would be, you know, who is that player for you? There's got to be one.
Oh, man. I mean, you're asking the wrong guy, because everybody would be shocked how little or how few messages we actually do send.
Sure.
We don't do the massive email.
There's got to be one on the list, though, whether it's you or Devin's like, hey, just reach out.
I mean, I thought team. I saw Mitchell Kruger beat him, 6'2", 6'2" at the U.S. Open in the juniors, and we know Mitch very well. He's from Fort Worth. So, I went up to his coaches and told him that college would be good for him, So that was one.
Not wrong.
What did he get? Two in the world, three.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, has a nice little Grand Slam title to him as well. No, that's a good one. I just in the history books, there's like, dear Mr. and Mrs. Djokovic, this is Brian Boland and Tony Bresky at Virginia. Like, we know your son would be an excellent Cavalier, and here's why. That's like the email I really just want to uncover.
No, we don't have that, but maybe they were talking about his brother.
Yeah. Fair. All right. Again, some fun ones here. I made the joke in the press conference. You can clarify here. David Roditi, better college career than Devin Bowen. True or false?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Unequivocally true.
Better than Devin. Devin won a lot of matches. He relentless. If you were going to beat Devin, you're out there for 6 hours. Mm-hmm. I would say he would agree that college career, I had a better college career. He would quickly then say, do you want to talk about a professional career on the ATP tour? And he would then say he had a better a professional career, which he did.
You guys overlapped for 1 year, right?
2 years. 2 years. I mean, Devin's the reason why I went to TCU. He's basically the one that recruited me. We grew up in Orange County. Always had so much respect for Devin. It's a very interesting dynamic because, whatever, I'm the head coach, he's the associate head coach. He was always a mentor to me, and he still is a mentor to me. It's very uncomfortable, and I absolutely never tell him what to do ever, because our whole life he's been here and I've been here, and he calls the shots. I don't think I would have had a successful professional career as a doubles player without his influence. He's got the best mind, unbelievable optimism, professionalism, discipline, all these things that I needed, and learn from him and our guys. I mean, he's sort of the Bill Belichick behind the scenes in our program. There's no secret. If you talk to Cameron Norrie, Rybakov, Jerry Lopez, any of those guys, Reese, Alistair, and they say, you got to take a coach on the tour, David or Devin, before you're finished with your sentence, they would say Devin. And it doesn't matter what name you say after Devin, they're taking Devin. Yeah, they're taking Devin, no doubt. So we're very, very pleased that he's here. We are literally like brothers. We got into a big fight after the Virginia match, argument, like two little brothers, and and we kind of hug it out and move on. It's a very interesting dynamic. I'll tell you a good statistic, a good fact here. I've been head coach for 12 years. Never had another coach, I hate the word assistant, a co-coach that I work with that was younger than me. All my co-coaches have been older than I am. So I don't know what it tells you.
It tells me I'm not in the running, is what that tells me moving forward. It also, though, here's the real question: better pickleball player.
I have an edge on pickleball only because of more time on the court. Yeah. Now, if you said a year from now we're gonna give $1 million to the winner, I have no chance because I know he will be up at 3 a.m, sneaking in, breaking into some pickleball facility, and outworking me. He's gonna outwork me 100%. I'll be sleeping, enjoying the national championship. He's thinking pickleball. There was, you can't compete. He will outcompete you, outwork you, no doubt.
Yeah, the problem is your team's too good. Otherwise, it would just be time for you to retire and you two go pro and just take it on the pickleball circuit as a doubles duo and get to number one. I let my
brother do the pickleball circuit. He's pretty legit. Daniel Roditi. He's good. Okay. He's like 15 in the world or something. But he's getting a little too old now. Yeah. He's battled one of those. Is it a Michigan guy that's pretty good that nobody likes? That some lawyer? I can't remember. Matt Wright. Yeah. Something right.
So Fun fact, because I used to live, obviously, in Michigan, and that was my area. I got invited to the inner pickleball circle because, like, if you're young and played tennis at some point to some decency, you'll be okay at pickleball. And so I had it a little bit, and you're in the circle, and, like, you think tennis is petty. Like, oh, my God, it's that much more so. You're in the kitchen. Like, I get called in the kitchen. I'm like, what kitchen? I'm like, I'm sorry. My feet are big. Like, I don't know what you want from me.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a very interesting dynamic with the whole pickleball and tennis. But no, we're Devin and I, we compete a lot, and you know, on the golf course, anybody would laugh if they saw us. It's almost like better off if we don't golf against each other. But it's good, right? We're alive. And you said retiring. I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old.
That's true.
I got a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do.
Yeah, I guess there's no national championship pension. Not yet. Not quite.
No.
Yeah.
No. This is like, congratulations, David. You know, who do you play on Wednesday? That's how that conversation goes.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, no, we love it. We love it, and it's a great environment for our kids. I think every coach would agree that it's so much fun for our own children to grow up in a college atmosphere. Mm-hmm. We don't realize how many people have never even walked into a college campus. Mm-hmm. And here we are. We have 5-year-olds, 7-year-olds that think that going to TCU, it's just normal, you know? Yeah. So.
No, absolutely. My final question for you, and again, this one comes from Twitter. Do you frame the National Indoor hat? Is it retired now? Like that one goes on the side next to the trophy and we find a new hat for matches moving forward?
You mean the cowboy hat?
Yeah, the cowboy hat. Does that get retired?
No, are you kidding? That thing is legendary now. I'm gonna wear it even more. I go on a date, I'm gonna wear that hat. It's so far, I'm knocking on wood, but it's undefeated. And it's that hat's like 50 years old and it's been restored and it's legit. I get it from my buddy Roger Sheffalo. He's great. Those hats they're good. They're you don't want to put it up on a shelf. You want to wear it. Now, the ITA T-shirt that we got, that will be framed.
Yeah, okay. That makes more sense. Yeah. I mean, I might just box up the hat, put it in the trophy case next to the ITA National Indoors trophy and be like, here's the trophy and here's the hat we wore during the trophy, and the two are now forever related.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Mr. Roger Sheffalo is kind enough to give me a hat like that, I'll be happy to retire. Otherwise, I'm wearing it even more.
Yeah, but I might have to cut that for our conflicting cowboy hat sponsor, but maybe we'll leave that in just in case.
Yeah. Well, he just sells them. Sells them.
I don't think I mean, God willing, we have a cowboy hat sponsor someday. I'd look good in it. But with all of that said, Coach, seriously, congratulations to you and the team. It was such a fantastic run, and again, you could see the joy on your face in the championship trophy ceremony, and I think college tennis fans everywhere embrace that because obviously you've brought an energy and a passion for college tennis that we all gravitate towards. So congratulations, sincerely well deserved, and obviously wishing you and the team continued success and health throughout the course of this year.
Well, thank you, Alex. We're very, very lucky to do what we do and how we do it, and very lucky of all the support that we get from the universities. And I believe I had a regret from the speech on the court. You know, I've talked about never being able, and I don't think I thanked the ITA enough. This is the best event in the year, in my opinion, to be able to play all these teams back to back to back. Indoors, they do such a good job. And then also the University of Washington, there are times when people host you and you feel that it's putting them out and it's, you're kind of invading them. It was a complete opposite. We felt nothing but smiling faces, and Matt Anger's out there, and Raheem is out there every day, and went out of their way to make sure that all the teams were comfortable. And then you have a beautiful club like the Seattle club. It just gives up all their courts for a bunch of college boys to go out there and battle at. So that was one of my regrets in that speech, that I don't believe I thanked them enough for what they did for us. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if I never have to eat Jimmy John's again or whatever the sub was, like I need like 5 days, but I was very well, like I could keep eating the Snickerdoodles and I still have Oreos coming out of my backpack. So I agree. A huge thank you to them and a huge thank you to you, by the way. You know what makes it all more fun? Good tennis. And obviously the Horned Frogs provided that. So coach, again, be safe, be healthy, rest up. And obviously I apologize in advance for whooping my Wolverines give you on Wednesday.
I knew you would have to end this with that, so no surprise there. I absolutely love it. You better be speaking that way about your Wolverines. It's going to be a battle. Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure to be here with you and your whole gang. And again, I will say it. Thank you so much for what you do for college tennis. It's the best thing that's happened to college tennis in a while. So thank you.
I appreciate it, Coach. Always a pleasure. We will talk more soon.
And if we win, you can call me after that.
Will do.
All right.